what you do to me. Oh, it's what you do to me. Oh, it's what you do to me. Oh, it's what you do to me. What you do to me.
Do like what? Listen to beer and music?
Listen to music and taste beer, more like it.
Or drink music and
Drink
taste
music and
beer?
listen to beer. You know, you can listen to beer.
Yeah, why not?
You can, like, put your ear up to the glass and listen to the bubbles pop.
And you can taste music, kind of.
Yeah. I mean...
Because we do it all on American Brews and Tunes.
Yeah.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity beeby dow.
Welcome to another fun one-off episode of American Brews and Tunes. My name is Steven Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
Well, what did we do last week? Last week was our repeating week. You listened to Sum 41 and I listened to... Who did I listen to?
You listened...
Why are we drawing blanks on this? This
I don't know.
was nay but a week ago. Switchfoot.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yep,
Classic
you listened to
forgetfulness.
Switchfoot.
Yeah, so that was a fun episode, but
was.
we're back with
Always
a
a good
one-off.
time.
And I think we said last week what that one-off was, but
We did, yes.
in case you forget, it is the album Swimming by the late Mac Miller.
Yes.
His final album, good listen. So we are here to review that for you. We wanted to do that because of the Grammys. Well,
Yeah.
when we recorded the last episode, the Grammys were about to happen.
Yep.
They have since happened. We'll touch upon that later, I suppose.
Sounds good to me.
Before we jump in and swim with Mac Miller, shall we have a beer?
Yeah, we shall. And this week, for some reason, Steve is deciding to keep the beer a secret from me.
Secret.
Our fun secrets help everyone, right? I don't really know why he's deciding to keep it a secret, but hopefully there's a good reason behind it.
It's a theme beer.
Theme beer. Okay, so let's try to think. But before you reveal it, before you turn around, okay, Mac Miller, he's from Pittsburgh. Steve is from Pittsburgh.
He's a rapper.
He's a rapper, and he is...
Hear that? It's a bottle.
Yeah.
It's a bottle.
Okay,
Look
so
away.
is it...
Hear that? Bottle.
Are you gonna open it?
No, I'm not going to open it.
Okay, are you gonna reveal it?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to turn around and Jesse's going to say the beer and his reaction. 3, 2, 1!
I get it now.
What is it?
It's Miller High Life.
Why on earth would I choose that?
Because Mac Miller.
And more specifically, his third, I believe it was his third, mixtape was called The High Life. Classic.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting review for beer.
We don't typically review macro brews
No.
on this podcast. I think
There was
we only
only
have
one time before that we did.
and that was because it was reviewing the first legal beer that we had. So
Yes.
we are drinking the champagne of beers.
No, we also had it on that Menzingers episode.
Oh yes, that
When we had
Budweiser.
the Amber Budweiser copper lager.
Yeah. But this one we're having Miller High Life, self-proclaimed champagne of beers,
Yeah.
established in 1903. In Milwaukee. What a great place for brewing, though. Let's be honest.
What does champagne of beers even mean?
It
I'm
means
like trying to say this is what you have at special occasions.
yeah, like champagne. You have like celebratory,
Like you have it on New Year's Day or something like that.
New Year's Eve. Just like
I
it's
mean,
a
New Year's Eve,
celebration. You can have it New Year's Day if you really wanted to. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should though.
There was one day I had a peanut butter sandwich and champagne.
What was that day for?
It was New Year's Day.
Oh,
I was watching The Godfather. It was a good day. But yeah, we're having this in honor of Mac Miller. I don't know
Yeah.
if he liked Miller High Life.
who knows?
I'm
What
not really
was his
sure if he
last
liked
name?
beer too much in general. I think he may have been more of a liquor fan.
Yes.
But
think
there
so.
was a fun video on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel called First We Feast. They're the ones who
Yeah.
do the Hot Ones interview, in which interviewers do an interview and have hot wings. But this one is a different segment on the same channel called That's Weird, Let's Drink It, or That's Odd, Let's Drink It.
Okay.
And it's the owner and brewer from Dogfish Head. I can't remember his name. Sam,
really?
whatever his
He
name
came
is.
into it? Yeah.
He hosts it. And on this he gets a
Wait,
strange
he hosts
beer.
it for that
The
channel.
channel name is called First We Feast, and that little show on
Or
the
he
channel
hosts it.
is called That's
Oh.
Odd, Let's Drink It.
Interesting.
So he has a weird beer, and then he brings people on to try it.
Cool.
Like there was one beer where he had mace inside the beer.
mace?
Yeah,
Like pepper spray?
yes, like some type of mace, whatever's in mace.
What?
I don't really know exactly
That's
what
weird.
went into it, but they wanted to make a spicy beer and see how it went.
Huh. So they decided to use mace instead of like peppers.
Yeah, but he had Mac Miller on once,
Oh, really?
and he gave him some type of barrel aged or like a strong ale or something.
Yeah.
And he kind of gave Mac Miller the rundown on beer. And I think he's like, "Hey Mac, I had dreams of being a rapper once. Will you listen to my rhymes and give me a critique?" And he did a terrible rap for him. I think Mac was like, "It was a good start, but you got a little work to do." It was very funny. But
Classic.
in honor of Mac Miller, we're having Miller High Life.
Yes.
Check that mixtape out. It was a fun one. It came out, I think, in 2009 when
Could
he
be,
was
yeah.
a wee child
Yeah.
in high school.
Very young.
Yeah.
Whenever he started.
So I guess we'll give our honest opinion about Miller High Life as we drink
Yes,
it.
we will.
And it is a twist-off bottle.
Yeah. So let's just kind of open them up then.
Yeah, you don't really crack that. You just
No, you just kind of
twist
twist it.
that.
It's almost like opening a 20-ounce bottle of pop,
It is. It really is.
except it's a metal cap and a glass bottle.
It's worth noting that I am pouring my champagne of beers into a nice stemmed drinking glass. So it almost looks like I am drinking champagne.
And I'm pouring mine into a regular pint glass.
A political pint glass.
A very political pint glass from whenever the
election
2016 election with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And
Very, very funny.
it has a cartoonish picture of him on it. And it says, "Big plans, small hands, 2016.
Hilarious.
Very topical.
Well, what do we say about this beer? It actually doesn't have a terrible head.
no.
It's a little more foamy than I thought. It's a very light golden color. What I
Yeah,
would expect.
clear.
Very, very clear. It looks
I
clean.
you could say that once we drink this, we're going to be living the high life.
Yeah, it smells like the grains that I would expect it to be there. Maybe some adjunct grains, maybe
Yeah.
corn. I don't know.
I mean, probably some corn.
Some
yeah.
of the malts.
Definitely smells
Smells
like
sweet.
just a straight up American lager.
Yeah. Let's give it a cheers and give it a try. Let's see if we can confirm what we have already let
All
you
right,
guys know.
We're going to give our cheers and then do another cheers to Mac Miller.
That's right.
Okay.
Shibbity-beep-boop.
And cheers to
Mac Miller.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Sorry, I was trying to say what you said at the same time, but
I
I couldn't.
know. I didn't really tell you what we were going to say.
Down the
All
hatch.
right, let's give it a shot.
Well, there's not much hop presence there.
Nope.
It's very.
It's,
it's got that malty sweetness,
Yeah, it definitely
but not
has
malty.
Yeah, I know what
Corny
you're talking
sweetness almost.
about. It's a malty sweetness that's masked. That's being what am I trying to say here? Imagine the corny sweetness, it put on a mask to try to mask the actual flavor. And they're like, the corn's like, I'm a malt. I'm malty.
He's like,
And you're
it's Halloween. I'm candy corn, everyone. And we're like, no, you're not. You're real corn.
And then Scooby Doo and Shaggy pop in, and they're like, or Fred's like, why don't we see who this villain truly is?
And
then
Scooby's
they
like,
rip off the
"Ree."
Did you say Scooby's like that?
Yeah, he's like,
And Shaggy's like,
it's candy
Shaggy's
corn.
like, zoink, Scoob, there's the monster.
Classic.
And then Fred's like, that's not the monster, Shaggy, and pulls it off, and it's just a kernel of corn.
Yeah,
No malts.
kernel corn.
But it's still, I mean, in all honesty, it doesn't taste terrible.
No, it's not bad. I
There's
kind of like
not-
it when it's ice cold.
There's not much substance to it.
No.
But it's an easy drinker.
But again, it's ice cold right now. Like we
Yeah,
said
true.
before, when a beer warms up, you can actually taste the flavors better. So as this warms up, I think the flavor will decrease.
Will definitely dissipate. There will
little
be
worse flavor.
a strange bitterness normally whenever a American lager gets kind of warm. Like it's a weird.
It just doesn't taste as pleasant anymore.
Yeah.
But we'll let you know what we think as it warms up.
Yeah.
I'd like to drink
maybe-
this fast before it warms up, but
Have you had a Miller High Life before?
yeah, I've had.
I don't think I have.
I've had quite a few. I like Miller High Life. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like Coors and Coors Light,
It's your
Budweiser, Bud Light, Miller High Life,
Miller Light.
Miller Light. But I will say this: when I was buying this, I saw there was a Miller High Life Light,
Oh.
which kind of confused me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to touch upon that because I don't really know why that's there.
Who knows? Doesn't really matter.
It's the light champagne of beers. I don't know. Shall we delve into this album?
We shall. Let's do it.
All right, let's go swimming.
I guess let's. Do you want to kind of lay a couple of
Lay some groundwork.
General themes and general sounds?
Yeah.
Whatever else.
I'll
that's
give
gonna
my.
be happening.
We'll just lay the framework.
Yeah.
This came out on August 3rd, 2018, so it's a relatively new album.
Past year.
Probably the newest album we've reviewed on this podcast. Most of ours are usually at least a year old.
Yes, I think you're right.
The only recent one that we've had that was newish was Frank Turner's "Be More Kind," and that's even older than this.
Yeah, that came out in May.
Yeah, this is Mac Miller's 5th studio album, but if you include all of his mixtapes and other like full length things that he's done under other names, it would be his 17th.
Wow.
So crazy. In a 10-year span, he's released 17 items and a live album, some EPs and stuff. So he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
Plus tours and stuff. This, I think, signifies the longest gap between releases, though. So, like I said, this came out 2018. His previous album, The Divine Feminine, came out almost exactly 2 years prior.
Okay.
Just short, maybe a month. So that's a long break for him. Most of his were like a year or less in between.
Yeah.
I think we've said it before on this episode, and I'm sure you're very well aware, but this was his final release before he died on September 7th, 2018
of an apparent drug overdose, right?
It was not apparent. They've released
they've confirmed it.
It's an accidental overdose of a mix of some bad things. So the album was out for just over a month before he moved on, unfortunately. Very sad.
Very sad, yeah.
This album, unlike some of the other ones, is more reflective and introspective, I think.
Yeah,
a little less braggadocious. Sometimes he's kind of like doing the "I'm the best." Like he doesn't obviously say that, but like the
general
"we kicking it, we're most dope."
Yeah, like the general. A lot of rappers have that.
Yeah,
it's say that type of thing.
Yeah, it's common. It's not a bad thing. It's very, very common. And he tends to change sounds on each album, what he kind of raps about, and this is no exception.
Yeah, after listening to the Divine Feminine, which was his previous release, and listening to this one too, it's very different. Some similarities, but not completely similar though.
But if I heard a song off of that, I would say that's definitely like if I heard a song off of the Divine Feminine and didn't know it was from there, I'd probably be able to say, oh, this is from the Divine Feminine just based on the sound.
Yeah.
Whereas if I heard a song from Swimming, didn't know it was from Swimming, I could say this sounds like it's off of Swimming.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes,
it's a weird way to phrase it. This is his album that came out after he had some hard times.
Yep.
He had a DUI, which was pretty public. And then an even more public breakup with pop singer Ariana Grande. I'm just going to call her Ariana Grande from here on out, just a warning, because for some reason I do that.
I will
correct me every time.
I'll satiate everybody else's need for her to be called Ariana Grande.
Yeah. For some reason, I always say Ariana Grande. I don't know why. I know it's not. I just love that. I love that way. It's
the same reason why you say other things incorrectly.
Yeah.
Because you just like to.
Yeah.
Like anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, they had broken up and they'd been together for 2 years. They had a very public relationship in general because they're both very popular public figures. She's had some rough times too. I mean, obviously,
as of late, you mean?
No, in general. Like even when I think it was when they were dating. Remember, there was in the UK in London, there was a bombing at her concert.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't know that was her concert.
That was her concert.
Oh,
yeah. They don't. I think it might be more in the public sphere still in London, probably than here.
I would assume so.
But yeah, that was her.
Wow, that's crazy.
After she broke up with Mac Miller, she got engaged to Pete Davidson from SNL, and then they broke up. So she's had some rough times too.
Yeah.
Anyways, classic. This album deals with a lot of hardships. It's hard to say how many songs were written and recorded before a lot of that things happened versus what was written and recorded afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it was right around the time he was working on this album. So
yeah, and I mean, it seems like some of the songs were definitely written after their breakup.
There's one where you think it definitely was.
Yeah.
But in an interview, he said it was not.
Interesting.
Self-Care is what I'm referencing.
Okay.
All right. This album, to move on from that, the dark stuff, this album was nominated for Best Rap Album at the 61st Grammys last week.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he lost to Cardi B.
Yep.
I don't know her music too much, and I'm not going to smear her. but methinks there was some politics involved.
Think so?
I watched the Grammys, and it was very... Well, Grammys and award shows are usually criticized for two reasons. And they're both involving inclusion.
Yeah.
There's usually two groups that are not included.
Women.
And African Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was very heavily women-fronted, this Grammys.
Really?
Yeah. Not a bad thing. I'm all for making everything the same. And I don't know if that was the reason or not that she won, but it seems like usually posthumous releases get a little more...
little more, and they're more.
They hold a little more weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is what it is. In the end, the Grammys are just an award show. A lot of people who are rap fans dismiss the Grammys in general because they say that the people who vote on the Academy doesn't really, they're not in touch with rap.
Okay.
Which very well could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have liked them to win, but that's okay.
Yeah, same here. And I mean, I agree with you that like ultimately awards are just awards.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, that's not what makes your music good.
Yeah. If you're really curious though, go watch Drake's acceptance speech for the best song. He won for one of his songs.
Really?
He's talking about how he's like, yeah, this is just an award, doesn't mean anything. He's like, you really are a winner if you get someone to listen to your music or if you get someone to pay to come to your show. That's the real win. It was a really cool speech, and then he got cut off like halfway through. The Grammys cut him off.
Oh.
I don't know if that was on accident. I don't think
It's
so.
all a conspiracy. It's all a ruse.
My background with Mac Miller.
Yes.
Obviously, he would have been in the same graduating class that I was, not the same high school, but the same city. I was very aware of who he was because everyone knew who he was in Pittsburgh.
Popular in Pittsburgh, yeah.
Back in the day, but I didn't really listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Wiz Khalifa, another popular Pittsburgh rapper.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thought like, oh, Wiz Khalifa is the big rapper. Mac Miller's just a little guy in the shadow. And my friend Jason loved Mac Miller.
Yeah.
Always telling me to listen to him. And so finally, after I took Jason's recommendation to start listening to Kendrick Lamar, I was like, maybe I should listen to more of his recommendations.
Yeah.
So at work, they had a box full of free CDs, and I found Mac Miller's first full length, which is called Blue Slide Park.
Mm-hmm.
I got it, put it on my computer, and then I sat on it and didn't listen for a long time.
Yeah. Which is very common for you to do.
It is. I usually will listen eventually, but I just put it off for probably about 2 years.
Really?
I put it off for
that long?
Maybe a year.
Okay.
It was definitely before last spring.
Okay.
So it was at least a year. Anyways, fast forward to when Mac Miller passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had called Jason the Friday, the day Mac Miller died, to ask him it's something irrelevant. I had to ask him a question for something. He's like, "Oh, I thought you were calling to ask me what I was thinking about Mac Miller." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, he just passed away like this morning." I was like, "What?"
It's crazy.
It's super crazy. So I was giving blood the very next day, that Saturday, and after I was done giving blood, I went to Grimey's and bought the new album Swimming by Mac Miller.
Yeah.
Brought it back, and then I started listening to Blue Slide Park. And from there, I went back, got his first mixtape, and I listened through the entire discography.
Yeah.
And it was a joy.
Mm-hmm.
I like all of his music, but it is so different.
Yeah.
I can see how one person would be into the later half of his career versus the earlier half. It's very almost like a different artist.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at with that. Because the first half of his career was kind of like party rap.
A little bit, yeah.
Or like frat boy rap or whatever.
Yeah, one could say that.
And then his later half of his career, or maybe not even half, the last couple of albums.
From Blue Slide Park, the first one, it was a #1 independent release on the Billboard Top 200, which is crazy to begin with.
Yeah.
It got horrible reviews from critics saying it was like cheesy and dumb. I like it a lot. I think it's a cool one. But the very next album got dark. It's called Watching Movies with the Sound Off, and that's when he starts to talk about his drug use and like the dark stuff. And that one was well liked by critics and everyone alike. Did well. But enough about the past. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Mm-mm.
All right, shall we dive in?
We shall.
We can dive in because we're all swimmers here. All right, so let's go track by track as we always do. Track number 1 is called "Come Back to Earth," and just a precursor here. I didn't give any ratings, but I have 4 recommendations.
Okay, I didn't give any ratings or really any recommendations because I think the whole album's worth listening to.
I agree. "Come Back to Earth," I think, is a great start to the album.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it provides the listener a good idea of what's to come, not only musically but thematically.
Yeah, definitely.
This album kind of follows a not a narrative, but kind of a progression, I think. A progression of him kind of doing his introspective thing.
Yeah.
Sound-wise, this shows that it's not going to be an explosive album.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more chill and laid back.
Yeah, it's very, very laid back. Hardly any instrumentation on this first song.
A little bit more singing sometimes than rapping. And I don't know if there's any rapping on this song, actually.
There might not be. And I would say that there's at least, on every single song, it seems like there's at least a singing part, as opposed to it just being rapping.
Yes.
Which I actually really enjoy.
Yeah. This introduces the theme of swimming, which is recurring throughout the album.
Yeah.
He says, I was drowning, but now I'm swimming. And based on how swimming is going to pop up later, I think that has to deal with his struggle with drugs.
Yeah.
It could mean other things, also dealing with depression or dealing with hardships. Yeah. But I think in this album context, it's about drugs.
Yeah, the introspective, like him trying to deal with his addiction to drugs and depression and like anxiety and whatnot is a very prominent theme throughout this whole album.
Yes, it is.
Which is normally, like you said, a lot of times conveyed by using the term swimming.
Yeah. I really like the first line in the chorus. I'm just going to read it because I think it's cool.
Okay.
He says, my regrets look just like texts I shouldn't send. Yeah. And I got neighbors who look like strangers. We could be friends.
Yeah.
I just need a way out of my head.
Mm-hmm. I just need a way out.
Kind of deep lyrics for a rapper.
My head. Yeah.
Let's move on to track number 2, shall we?
Let's do it.
This is a rap song.
Yeah.
This is when you get to this, you're like, oh yeah, this is a rap album.
Mm-hmm.
This was produced by J. Cole. He's another good rapper.
Yeah.
And part of the song was co-written by Pharrell.
Oh, really?
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, very interesting.
I was thinking maybe he did the hook, perhaps, because he's a pretty hooky guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Much more like beat driven than the past song.
Well, yeah, because like the last song was like very piano driven and
ethereal.
Like like
atmospheric is a good word. Yeah, spacey.
Yep. And this one is like a clear, defined beat.
Yeah. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
I think this song's about changing. Like he's like, I'm always saying I won't change. I'm not the same.
Yeah.
So he has changed.
Yeah.
He's like, shame on you. Yep. Shame on you. So I think it's him talking about changing in general.
Yeah.
It talks about hurt feelings, but it's good. It's a good song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I kind of want to say before we move on that a lot of these songs, it's kind of like the messages are all very vague, and unless we were able to sit down with Mac Miller and ask him about specifically what he was thinking about when writing these songs, we probably don't know the exact answer. We're just giving
we can guess.
We can guess.
Yeah.
But don't take our word as gospel.
Our word's never gospel. No. If you're listening to us for gospel, you need to check yourself, sir.
Yeah.
Or ma'am. Don't let us judge. Track number 3 is called What's the Use? And this is my first recommendation.
It is a great song.
I love this song the first time I heard it.
Yeah.
Like when I popped this CD into my CD player after Giving Blood, I was a half pint lighter. And I was like, oh, this isn't interesting. Not what I expected from Mac Miller. Yeah. And then this song came on. I was like, really not what I expected from Mac Miller. It's very funky and very melodic.
Funky and very melodic, yeah.
Thundercat, the renowned bass player, plays bass on this.
Yes.
He's played bass on some Kendrick songs. Yep. And at one point in his career, he
bass
played
on a
for
lot.
the Suicidal Tendencies.
Really?
Punk band. Yeah.
Really?
Crazy, huh?
I did not know that about Thundercat.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but he mainly does like R&B, jazz, funk, soul, that kind of stuff.
And Snoop Dogg is also on this song.
Snoop and a guy named Sid, S-Y-D, I think that's... I don't know him, but they kind of do some background vocals.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear Snoop in the second and third chorus, and the outro you hear him. It's so funny just to hear him.
Yeah.
This song, I believe, is also about drugs and drinking.
Yeah, definitely is.
And trying to be sober and looking at other people's, I don't want to say judgment, but other people's input, perhaps, and your own input, and just struggling over it. So I'm going to read the chorus, if that's okay.
Yeah,
I think that gives some good insight.
It does, definitely.
When you're thinking of the context of drugs and alcohol, it makes sense, I think.
Yep.
You can love it, you can leave it. They say you're nothing without it. Don't let them keep you down. What if I don't need it? There's just something about it that just freaks me out. I just want another minute with it. F a little. What's the use? Never superficial. You gonna know it when it hit you. get a little sentimental when I'm off the juice.
Yeah.
So the first part of it, you can think maybe it's about a relationship or maybe not. But when he's talking about off the juice,
Yeah.
it's probably definitely going to be about that.
It's a relationship with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. What a good song, though.
It really is. That bass line is just so incredibly catchy.
You can really shake your hips and dance to this song.
Yes, you can.
All right. Well, you want to move on?
Yeah.
All right. This song is called Perfecto.
Perfecto.
Yeah. I wonder why he chose to say perfecto instead of perfect.
Perfect?
Maybe just a goofy choice. Who knows? This is an interesting vibe to this. Another more rappy song.
Yeah.
Talks about how things look like they're perfect, but really might not be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's about himself or about a relationship. It's, again, vague, and you can kind of make your own attributions.
Yeah, I think
or,
so. And I think throughout this song as well, there's that same line of him kind of putting in through the lens of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
He brings up the swimming motif again. He says, "I'm treading water. I swear that if I drown, I don't care.
Yeah.
They calling me from the shore. I need more."
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like he's trying to stay sober, but he's struggling real bad.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to drown.
Yeah.
But if he does drown, he won't care.
Yeah.
Right. So if he falls back into drugs,
so it's like he knows that it's not the right decision, but whenever he's
tempting.
on them, it's perfecto.
Yeah. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Track number 5 is called Self Care.
I love
I'd
this
say
song.
This might be, even though it's a little earlier in the album, this might be the centerpiece, I would say, of the album. Based on how it's the longest song, it's almost like 2 songs put together.
Yeah.
And it's
I wouldn't
big
disagree
theme.
with you at all about that.
This was a real popular one. I think I read on Wikipedia that it was his highest charting single.
Okay.
It's got a crap ton of plays on Spotify.
Really, really good.
Got a really interesting music video. I don't know if you've watched it.
Yeah, I have watched it.
He's like in a coffin, buried, and he lights a cigarette, and then he does the Kill Bill thing to break out of the coffin and digs his way out.
The 1-inch punch.
Yeah, it's a really interesting music video.
And then he digs his way out, and then that's when the second half. I wouldn't even say second half. It's like the second third, or the last third of the album. I mean, of the song. Jeez.
He falls out and he's kind of like falling.
And he's like floating, and there's like explosions going on around him.
Yeah, really interesting music video.
Strange music video.
But that it does. I'd say 2 parts. I'm gonna say there's 2 parts.
Yeah, there are
I'd say
definitely
there's
two
the
parts.
self-care part and then the oblivion part.
Yeah.
The self-care's got like a more like a faster beat. I don't want to say aggressive, but
It's definitely not aggressive.
Compared to like the second part's a little bit more mellow. But the first part, he says that line, "Self-care, I'm treating me right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we're gonna be all right."
Yeah.
The second part flips a switch,
Don't be.
and it's a completely different sound.
Mm-hmm.
Much
It's
more
like a
chill.
lot slower and like double or
Almost
not double time, but half time.
Almost like halftime, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And he talks about being in oblivion.
Yeah. Which I would assume means on drugs.
Yeah. This, by looking at the lyrics, I think this is him looking back and saying, "I didn't know then, but I was stuck in oblivion. When I was on those drugs, I was in a dark place. I was stuck in oblivion."
Yeah.
So he's reflecting and saying that was that was not a good place to be. So in the context of the whole song, self-care, it's all about self-improvement and trying to work on yourself.
Isn't one of the lines in that oblivion part, like he says, but I know, like it feels, essentially like, but I know it feels really good in oblivion.
I think he says that.
Something like that.
But he's definitely reflecting on it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just so catchy. I love that.
It really is.
Oblivion, yeah.
Oblivion,
Yeah.
Lots of yes. Lots of yes all over this whole album.
Lots of yeah. It's definitely different from like a punk song, yeahs or woes.
He could really fit into that one band, the Yeah Yeahs.
The yes.
He could front that band, you know what I'm saying? Let's move on to track number 6, which is called Wings.
Wings. I really like this song.
I do too.
It's super like sparse in terms of instrumentation.
Yeah, it's real stripped back.
Really stripped back, but I really like that.
The second line, I think, sets the tone for it.
Yeah.
Sets the message. He says, "I ain't broken no more."
Yeah.
So he's self-cared enough to fix himself a little bit. He's like, "These are my wings."
Yeah, what do you think he's referring to with that?
He's able to fly now. I don't know.
No, but what are his wings? Like he says, "These are my wings," and that's where like
You don't need wings.
really know.
Wings, you're in the air. You're not swimming. Maybe,
Yeah,
perhaps.
but
There's other themes with being in the clouds and in the sky, but those aren't positive. So
yeah,
we'll move on.
we'll move on.
Yeah.
It's a good song though. I really like it.
I do want to point out one kind of little part in the song, one lyric that I thought was clever.
Okay.
Before he said that I ain't feeling broken no more, the very first line the song says, I got a bone to pick like roses.
Roses.
And that's after that he talks about being broken.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a few bars later, you've forgotten about that broken line. And he says, you can run till you slip on the sidewalk and the same bone you picked on break. That's a motif.
That's a motif.
So he like references that thing again.
Yeah.
And it says that's a motif, so it gets a little meta there.
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
I just thought that was funny that he recalled it and then let everyone else know that he
Like,
recalled
hey,
it.
I referenced what I said before.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a motif.
That's a motif. That's a motif.
Let's move on to track number 7, shall
Sounds
we?
good. Ladders.
This song is called Ladders, yeah.
Another one of my favorite songs in the
That's
album.
my second recommendation.
Yeah, it's so good.
It starts out a little stripped back with him doing these melodies,
Yeah.
which you end up finding out is the chorus. And then he
Yeah.
does half of a verse, and then the beat comes in. And it's again
Yeah.
another like funky,
Really funky.
jazzy,
Yeah, and they're like
sounding.
horns, like jazz horns,
a nice bass line.
trombone, trumpet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the horns are really cool in this song.
Mm-hmm. It's a great song.
It's just got a nice melody.
Whenever I first heard this song, I was like, all right, another slow song. And then the beat dropped, and I was like,
Whoa.
"Oh, this is awesome!"
The first time I heard this one was before I listened to this album the whole way through. I saw him play this on Colbert,
Oh, really?
Stephen Colbert show, and I was like, I did the same thing. I was like, this is okay. And then the beat came. I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah. You could also really dance to this song.
You could. That Colbert performance was his last television performance before
Really?
he passed away.
Was it his
Sad.
last live performance or just last television?
At least live television. I don't know if he did a show after that or not.
Yeah. Mm.
On this song, the ladders could be a metaphor for a couple things. Maybe they could be a metaphor for self-improvement and then running into trouble. They could be a metaphor for drugs because you're getting high.
Yeah.
Because when he talks about climbing up the ladders, you fall down.
It seems like it could
It
be.
feels
like
so good right now,
yeah.
but it all come falling down when the night makes the light turn to day.
Yeah.
Such a catchy song. Shall we move on again?
Yeah.
Track number 8 is called Small Worlds, and it is my
Worlds.
third recommendation.
It's a great song.
Even though this album has like a real cohesive sound, which just fits into, I think this song is the most different sounding as a whole.
You don't think 2009 is?
No, I think that fits in pretty well.
Really?
It's
Okay.
like it sticks out as a really good song, but I think that fits in. In my mind, just the sound, like the vibe in this song, it's real chill, laid back, which fits into the album. But for some reason, I don't know if it's the production sound, but there's just something about
Yeah,
it.
it's just
maybe I
different.
think maybe the guitar chords. Maybe
I think it's
set it
probably
apart.
that because like for most of the songs, you don't really have guitar chords at all.
And guitar chords courtesy of
John Mayer.
yeah, John Mayer.
Crazy, right?
Hilarious. I can't remember if it was Mac Miller talking about it. I think it was Mac Miller talking about John Mayer coming in to hang out at the studio, and he was just showing him some of his stuff.
Yeah.
They showed him this song, and they're like, John Mayer's like, "You got a guitar?"
Yeah.
And Mac Miller's like, "Yes." He said they had like 20 or 30, like a bunch of guitars, and like all the people in the studio were just like really excited to see which one he picked.
Yeah.
And he picked a guitar and then played on the song.
What do you play on the
Play
song?
a Fender. If I
would assume
guess.
so. It
John
kinda
Mayer
sounds-
always plays a Fender, and
it
this sounds like
sounds
a Fender.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song is a really catchy, chill song.
Yeah.
The world is so small till it ain't.
Till it ain't.
Till
Till
it
it
ain't.
ain't. Till it ain't.
I'm building up a wall till it break.
Till it break. Till
Till
it
it break.
break. Till
Till
it break.
Such a catchy song. The chorus is great. The verses are great. It's just kind of like about him talking about like problems.
Mm-hmm.
The world's smaller, obviously. I really like the line in one of the verses where he says, "You never told me being rich was so lonely.
You never
Nobody
told me."
know me. Oh well. Hard to complain from this five-star hotel."
Yeah.
So he's like, obviously he's feeling lonely, maybe depressed or something. And then
He's
he's like, nobody really knows me. And then he's like looking, he's like, but I'm rich and I've got this 5-star hotel. How do I have the right to complain?
Yeah. It
That's
seems,
like catch-22.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because in that situation, I feel like he definitely does have a right to complain about it. You know, I mean, even if you have money, it's not like you have all your problems figured out.
Yeah, he doesn't have his together.
Yeah.
Together.
Get my together.
So
Together.
Want to move on to track number 9?
Yeah.
This song is called Conversations Part 1.
No part 2.
Who knows? Maybe
Maybe
I really hope that he recorded some
Maybe he
stuff.
has a bunch of other stuff recorded and they're going to release that at some point.
Like Tupac.
What happened with that?
It just kept releasing stuff after he
Really?
died.
Just because he had
A
so
lot
much
of stuff,
recorded?
yeah.
Really? Wow.
Crazy. Prince has a bunch of stuff he never released.
Oh, yeah. And he's not going to release any of it.
Well, maybe the estate of Prince will.
Yeah.
Who knows?
He planned to just kind of keep it to himself.
He's got a whole vault
In
of
his
stuff.
vault.
Yeah. All right, Conversations Part 1.
Part 1.
This is an interesting song. Kind of a chill beat, but it's definitely more rappy than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Again, it's a rappy song. It kind of seems like he has like a rap song and then a couple non-rap like focus songs and then back to a rap song. So it's a nice, a sequencing.
Mm-hmm.
A nice sequencing. This kind of seems like it's talking about his career trajectory a little bit. He's like,
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to say bragging, but he's like talking about like I'm up here, I'm solid.
Like he says, one of the lines is like he says we don't speak the same language. Like we're not even on the same.
We're on
planet.
the same planet. You don't speak the same language.
Yeah.
But later on, it almost seems like he's taken like he's put himself up saying this is where I'm at, and then it seems like he's giving advice to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to read an entire verse right here because
Yeah,
I love this verse. So this is what I think he's talking to someone giving them advice. He says, "Swear your life is basic. All you do is sit around the house, you getting faded. That ain't entertaining. You missing every single shot that you ain't taking. Hey kid, you could use a little bit of your imagination. If you can, it can do you right. Improve a life you busy wasting. Said it's your money if you make it. Otherwise, it's just a conversation."
Yeah.
So if it's all you are is talking, you never like follow your dreams or do whatever you want to do.
You gotta do something.
That's all it is. Just talk. Just
Yeah.
conversation.
Mm.
Good song.
Very good song. Yeah.
Moving on to track number 10, which is again not a rap song, but a different song.
Yeah.
The song's called Dunno.
Dunno.
It's my last recommendation.
It's a good song.
It's mainly just like these chords on a synth or something, electronic sounding chords and him, and then a little bit of a beat comes in, and then some more instrumentation builds up. I think the song's about Ariana Grande.
Yeah, I believe it's about Ariana Grande.
Yeah, it's reminiscent.
I mean, it definitely is.
Yeah,
It has to be.
maybe it's not, but I think it is.
There's no way it's not.
Yeah, but
Because like one of the lines he talks about like her, like you, whenever you hit my weed, you were coughing or something like
and
that.
she's very like not drug, very
Yeah,
anti-drug.
and another line is like you said, it's so cute that you want to be like me.
Yeah. So he's mentioning these real specific instances, but then it
Yeah.
seems like each verse says, "Wouldn't you rather get along?" So obviously, that those were in the past. Wouldn't you rather get along?
Yeah.
It's just such a catchy song.
Mm-hmm.
He did a Spotify session where he recorded this song. It was basically just a guy playing piano and him singing.
Yeah.
And I think that version's way better than the one they put on the album.
Really?
I just love that because if you just listen to the way the guy's playing the piano and how he does the ornamentation and like does the dynamic shifts and how he switches up the song, it gets big and small and ornamented and
Yeah.
just
He brings a lot of dynamic to just having a piano part.
I think even the vocal sounds better on that one. It's just really, really good rendition. So if you got Spotify, listen on there. If you don't, look it up on YouTube. Type in Mac
it's
Miller
on
Spotify sessions.
It's on YouTube, yeah.
Really, really good. Moving on to track number 11. This song's called Jet Fuel. Another rappy song, I'd say.
Rappy song, definitely a song about drugs, I believe.
For sure. He says another reference to swimming again in a negative form. He says, "Now my head underwater, but I ain't in the shower and I ain't getting baptized."
Yeah.
So he's doing drugs,
Yeah.
based on what I think swimming is.
Yeah.
And he talks about how, like it'll stop whenever he's out of jet fuel, but he
But
never
he
runs
never
out
runs
of jet
out
fuel.
of jet fuel.
Yeah, so he's going to keep going, and he's going to be flying high in the plane in his
Yeah.
jet fuel. So that's not positive, but he's
No.
honest.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he's being honest about it though.
Shall we move on to 2009?
Yeah.
Track number 12, 2009.
Fantastic song.
This has about a minute-long orchestral intro.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Really, really beautiful sounding.
Yeah.
And that surprised me when I heard it for the 1st time.
Same here. I was like, oh.
What is
what's
this here? And then that kind of fades away, and this piano and drum beat
Mhm.
come in, and he starts singing.
Yeah. It ain't 2009 no more.
He's kind of comparing where he is right now in his career
To
to
back in
2009, right
yeah.
before his breakthrough mixtape Kids came
Yeah.
out, because that came out in 2010. So it's right before he got big, kind of like wondering Like, should I do this? Like, what's going to be my career, even though he's in high school, to now.
Yeah.
It's not 2009 anymore. He knows what's behind that door. He knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not a mystery anymore.
Yeah. And I like how later in the song he like reminisces, or maybe not reminisces, but like asks the question, like maybe I should have taken a simpler route.
Yeah.
Instead of having demons that's as big as my house.
Yeah. So he chose a route that would
bring him all these demons, all these struggles.
And right before he says that line, he makes another swimming reference. He says, yeah, you got to jump in to swim. Yeah. So meaning you got to start that career trajectory to have the struggles with drugs, to be in a place where you got demons that are as big as a house.
Yeah. So I feel like that's just an interesting thing to kind of ponder about. Like how he's like, maybe I should have just had a job and like gone home to a wife and a kid or something like that instead of this terrible, treacherous route that I've chosen.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting.
If you watch,
very introspective.
He did a NPR. Well, NPR has a series called Tiny Desk Concert where they invite musical artists to come in and play on a tiny desk, essentially. Yeah. And he's got a small ensemble of players, Mac Miller, and he sings this song along with a couple others. But if you watch him singing this, he's like sitting there, like kind of like stroking his chin, and he looks like he's like
he's really into it.
He looks like it's like written on the spot the way he's singing it. Like it looks like he's ad-libbing almost, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Like it looks like he really feels what he's saying.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about that one?
Just that it's awesome.
It's awesome, and it seems like there's some resolution. Like he's like, I'm coming to terms with where I'm at now.
Yeah,
and it seems like that would be a really good album closer, right? But there's one more song called "So It Goes."
Yeah,
and this one kind of dispels the resolution a little bit, and brings it back to real life.
Yeah,
which I think was a bold move, an honest move.
Definitely an honest move.
Because he could have ended on 2009 and it would have been fine. It would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been a fantastic album closer.
But So It Goes kind of keeps it a little bit more realistic. According to Lyric Genius, a site that I like to look on, we talked about before, So It Goes is a
reference to some book.
Kurt Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse 5, I think it was. But So It Goes is a term that's used for when people die. It's kind of dark. And he says So It Goes a lot. And this
it's more of the term, it seems to me, is used as like a way, as an acceptance of death. Like after someone dies, you say, so it goes.
So it goes.
And that's just the way it is, you know.
And in this song, it seems like he references like that his problems are cyclical, like it's going to come around again. So he knows that, and so it goes. It's gonna, what will be, will be. C'est la vie.
Yeah.
It's really interesting production because it's got like those picked strings.
Yeah.
And you know how I said Small Worlds as a whole was the biggest outlier?
Mm-hmm.
I think the outro on this song is the biggest outlier.
Yeah.
It's this grand synthy movement. Like, I don't know what to call it, but it like that, when I heard that, I was like, this doesn't sound like anything else on the album. It's just like this really beautiful sounding synth part. And it closes it. The rest of the song fades out, and that's left playing, and it's big and awesome sounding, real pleasant and pleasing.
Yeah.
And it's just so nice.
Yeah, so I don't know if like maybe that symbolizes that he's come to terms with what's his problems, or like how he has to deal with them, maybe. I don't know.
I did read online that the night he passed away, he tweeted about this song, and then it was deleted later.
Really?
You can do some research into that if you really want, but I don't know. But that's Mac Miller Swimming, a great album. I think it should have won the Grammy, but
I think it should have too, but
it's Grammy nominated, which is still fun.
I really hope that the politics weren't why it didn't win, but
politics usually drive award shows in Hollywood and stuff. But that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's just an award.
Like Drake said, if you're making art and people are paying attention, that's
all that matters.
That's the win. That's the big
agree.
win.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Anything else to say about the beer? How do you think it has evolved as it warms up?
Let me give it another try real quick.
I think it's got a little bit of head retention and lacing more than I thought it would. Usually it dissipates, but it's kind of hanging on there a little pretty well.
I guess
it almost seems a little less flavorful in general.
Oh yeah, I mean
than even when it was colder.
Yeah,
which I thought it would kind of taste a little bit worse.
Here is a good challenge to do. If you're in Nashville, there's one specific beer that you could try against any of the American light beers, and you can definitely tell the difference, like what a lager is supposed to taste like.
What would that be?
That's the Nashville Brewing Company lager.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Um,
What would be a widely produced one?
widely
for people?
produced one.
Let's think of a good, like a really solid lager. If you think of any German style lagers, how about that?
Yeah,
If you
if
find any
there's-
German
if there's
style
a-
lager,
Is it like maybe your local brewery has a German style lager or something like that?
there's a brewery called Urban Chestnut based out of Missouri, I believe. Missouri.
They're from
St.
Louis.
St. Louis, Missouri. They've got a German-style lager called the Zwickel.
Yeah.
If you can find that, it's a beautiful lager.
Yeah.
Compare that to this.
Yeah.
And see what you,
And-
just see what you think grain-wise and
And
like the
what
sweetness.
what I believe you'll realize is that think about the flavor of lagers in terms of tiers, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier
Oh, I
4,
thought you
tier
meant
5, or like depths or something like
I
that.
thought you meant like crying tears.
No, like TEIRS.
I'm so sad.
This lager. Ooh. This probably has people's tears in it.
Yeah.
This Miller High Life.
High life.
Because you know they're not living the high life. Anyway, back to my analogy, or is it an analogy that I'm doing right now?
Yeah, I'd say so. Tears.
Yeah,
Analysis.
back to my analysis of, or if you're trying a good lager and then you're trying an American like light lager, the American light lager is going to have like one tier of flavor or like one tier of depth. It's going to be very one-dimensional, single note. That's all you're going to taste. And then if you have the example that I put forth, the Nashville Brewing Company lager, that's going to have multiple flavors, multiple tiers of depth.
Yeah.
And its body is going to be much more full. This beer is just empty. It's lacking substance. It's not bad for what it is,
No, I
but there are just better lagers out there.
there's this one music venue we like called the Basement East, and
Yeah.
right near is a place called the Crying Wolf, where it's like a
Crying
bar
Wolf,
restaurant. You can get a Miller High Life for like $2.
Yeah.
I would
So
get
like,
that.
why not?
Yeah, why not have that in a burger? you know?
Yeah.
It's a good beer. Have that with wings. It's fine. It's exactly what we expect. They do it well.
Yeah. There are certain times when you just want a crappy beer.
I don't even say crap. You just want
You want an American light lager.
an American
sometimes.
lager. Yeah, just say
Yeah.
that. Like an American macro lager.
Yeah.
That, you get what you get.
Yeah.
They're very
What you get.
consistent.
You get what you pay for.
Anyways, looking forward to next week. I will be reviewing the album by Arctic Monkeys called
Whatever they say I am, that's what I am not. Whatever they say I am, that's what I am not. I believe that's what it's called.
It's their debut album. I know
Yes.
that. And you will be listening to
The Vandals?
and the album is called Hitler Bad, Vandals Good. Easy to remember.
Funny.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they're just speaking the truth.
Normally, when you're talking about bad and good, that's pretty subjective.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, I feel like that's objective enough.
Fairly objective, yeah.
All right, let's finish our beers and sign off.
Yeah.
As we always say on American Brews and Tunes,
Shibbidi-beep-boop-doo!
Once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
My name, Mac Miller.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da!